I hope Jasmine really likes this ice cream I got her.
I'm just gonna guard this cone all day.
Oh man, what a beautiful day we're having. Oh, Bo Peep, she's so pretty. Oh, hi there, Bo Peep.
Hey!
Run, it's a toddler.
Hey everybody, I've got Godzilla Tokyo Clash on the table here. Let me let you guys have a quick look at it, do a brief overview, and go over some things that you need to know when you're doing this game with a non-gamer. So, Godzilla Tokyo Clash is a skirmish game in which you are going to be one of these kaiju monsters, destroying buildings in Tokyo and attacking other kaiju monsters for trophy points. And as a skirmish game goes, generally those types of games have take that elements. I mean, you're essentially attacking other players. You're trying to disrupt their game plan. And with non-gamers, that can sometimes leave a bad taste in their mouth. That can have a bad experience in store for them. And so just keep that in mind. It can be fun if you play it the right way and you let them know that, hey, I'm going to be fighting you. This is going to be kind of like one of those old school street fighting type games, and if they know that going into it, then they will probably have a good time with it. So let me show you guys how a turn in Godzilla Tokyo Clash works. So everybody's going to draw a hand of cards, and most everyone will draw 5 cards, but if you are the king of the monsters, that's what this token here is, you're going to draw 1 extra card, and on your turn you can do one of 3 things. You can play a card and do the action on the card. You can discard a card and do your special discard ability listed on your player board, or you can pass. And just because you pass doesn't mean you're out for the rest of the round. It just means that you've passed that time, and when it comes back to you, you can do another action. But if everybody passes in consecutive order, then that's the end of the round. So let's go over what playing a card looks like. So you're going to have several different cards in your hand that are going to have icons on them. And for all the cards, whatever number is listed here at the top in yellow is how much energy you're going to pay. And so for instance, this card would cost 1 energy. Now, energy is kept track on this player board right here. And so you have to have energy to be able to play cards. If you don't have the energy, you can't play the card. So I have to have 1 energy, and what this card lets me do is I can attack for 2. That's what this icon right here means. Now if I attack for 2, I have to be in that space unless if I have, not that card, excuse me, if I have range. Now if I have range, I can be that number of spaces away from my target and do the damage, but if I don't have range, I have to be in the space with that target. Now the way attacking plays out in the game is however much you're attacking for, 2 or 6, let's say 6 in this case, that opponent has an ability to play a card to block. And so if they have any cards that have this icon on them, it means that they can play those cards when they're being attacked and defend that much damage. So in this case, 2. And so if I am attacking for 6, then they've blocked 2, I'm still doing 4 damage. And so for however much damage you're doing to that person, you're going to draw that number of cards from their deck. And so in this case, 4. So I would draw 4 cards. And what I'm looking at these numbers here on the bottom right under this crown icon on all the cards. Now I get to keep one of these cards, and I'm going to want to take the one that has the highest number. So in this case, I'm going to want to take this 3 here. The cards I don't take, I'm going to put in that player's discard pile, and I keep the card that I want to keep, but I keep it face down. I don't let anybody know what was on this card and how many points it was. And then I put it over here on top of my my monster's name. And so if I'm Godzilla, I keep all my trophies, that's what those cards are, over there. Now I know I have 3 points, but no one else does. And also, not only do I have 3 points, but I've also taken that card from that player's draw deck. And so I'm slowly removing some of their really good cards from their hand. So that's how attacking works. Some other cards that I can do on my turn, I can, as I said, I can defend if I'm being attacked, but I can also move. And that's what that icon right there lets me do. So I can play a card, I can also discard a card, and generally when I'm discarding, it lets me throw things like vehicles that are on the board. These are battleships, for instance. I can actually throw kaiju if they're in my space. Or sometimes it just lets me move. And whenever I see this momentum on here, that means that I get to go again. I get to play it, do an action, and then do another action. Now, some of the cards have on them enhancements, which basically means that I keep that card in play. I put it down here at the bottom of my player board, and it gives me some special ability throughout the course of the game. Turns are going to keep going like this. I can attack kaiju, I can attack buildings, and when I attack buildings, I gain whatever's on the bottom. If it's a number, that's how much energy I get, and that building comes off the board. Other buildings give me not only energy, but special things that I can do, like look at another opponent's deck, draw an extra card, certain things like that. I can destroy the vehicles that are on the board and get energy for that. At the end of every round, the events are going to take place, and this is essentially when the city of Tokyo, or in some cases, aliens, decide to attack back against you, because after all, we are destroying Tokyo. There are people who live here after all, and they will be doing things to try to hurt us and just disrupt our plans. As the game progresses, we're going to be destroying these little small buildings and getting energy for them. And when we destroy these little small buildings, they go over here on this track. And as we keep tallying these up, they're going to go in the opposite direction of the turn tracker. This is the oxygen destroyer, and every round it's going to move one space forward this way. And eventually, whenever this oxygen destroyer meets up with the track of destroyed small buildings, then that will be the end of the game. And at the end of the game, you're going to reveal all the points that you've gotten from your trophies. And whoever was the last person to have this card is going to get 2 extra points. And the way this works is if you are the king of the monsters and you are damaged by an opponent, then that opponent gets to take this from you. And whoever holds this at the end of the game gets 2 extra victory points. Tally up all your victory points, and whoever has the most is the winner. And that is how you play Godzilla Tokyo Clash.
All right, so here's Sam and I doing a playthrough of Godzilla Tokyo Clash. And if you want to check out that playthrough video, feel free to click that eye in the top right corner. Right now we're going to go over our thoughts on the game. Sam, what did you think about Godzilla Tokyo Clash?
I'm not gonna lie, I did not think I would really like this. I don't know anything about Godzilla. I've never seen the movies. So it wasn't super appealing to me, but honestly, I liked it. It was pretty easy to learn. We did do a 3-player playthrough before this. We just massively messed up one of the rules, so we couldn't record it. But I enjoyed it, and I won both times.
Surprisingly, shockingly, yes. And it wouldn't be a first-time playthrough if we didn't get a rule massively wrong. So what did you like about the game?
I mean, overall, it was just it was pretty easy to navigate. The rules were easy to remember. I did really like the taking of each other's cards and winning that way, because you could end up getting really crappy cards. It looks like you have a good stash of them, but they could all be zeros and you couldn't win. And that's kind of what happened at the end of this one.
For me.
Yes, for you. For you.
I like that aspect of this game too, that there is a hidden score aspect to it.
Yeah, you don't necessarily have to be the best.
Right. And it causes there to be some tension that, I'll be honest with you, as we were playing this, I thought I had it in the bag. I thought I had beat you pretty soundly. And
Well, I think we were on the third round before I even started getting cards.
right, yeah. So there is a tension there that this game builds up towards the end. Any tips that you might have out there for gamers who might play this with their non-gamer friends?
I would say that you don't necessarily have to play with somebody that knows strategy. This is something where your strategy can develop with each round and change with each round. So you can play with somebody that's kind of a novice to these types of games, I feel like.
Yeah, this is a skirmish game. It's just a battle, free-for-all on the map kind of game. And I think there is some freedom that comes with that this isn't I have to have a plan for the next 5 moves. This is, what can I do on this turn? What can I destroy? What can I, attack and hit right now kind of game. And there's some freedom with that. So, Sam, let me ask you, what would you say is the funnest aspect to this game?
Oh, goodness. I think it's just the cards that you play. You really don't know what the other person's going for. One round I could have only attack cards, which I've had before. Then some rounds I have 0 attack cards. So you're trying to do other things to get you points, like knock down buildings or things like that. So they're really like, your strategy does have to be able to change depending on the cards that you have on your hand.
Yeah. I agree with that. The cards can wildly vary. And I will tell you, I've played as Godzilla, I've played as King Ghidorah, and you've played as Mothra both times. We don't know about the Megalodon or whatever the other one is, but each character is extremely different.
Yes, I felt like both times we played that Mothra had a little bit of a disadvantage because most of the attack cards are low. It's attack of 1 or 2. But then I ended up winning both times for different reasons. So it isn't always about the attack either.
Yeah, and Godzilla can attack very powerfully and defend very well as well.
Yeah.
And I'll tell you guys, I still don't know how I lost. I don't know what went wrong, but... So, Sam, how about any negative aspects to this game?
There's not a ton, honestly. I was going to say that, like I said earlier, with the beginning of both rounds, I felt like the differences in the monsters kind of gave one person a disadvantage over another, but it really doesn't. It feels like that as you're playing, but then you realize at the end that as long as you use those strengths of each monster, then anyone really can win.
Yeah, for me, for all the gamers out there, I'll tell you guys what it was like for me playing this. Again, we've played it at 2-player and 3-player, haven't quite done a 4-player yet. There is a little bit of a period in the middle where you do get that feeling of either I'm destroying everybody and my character's OP, or you're the opposite end of that spectrum where you feel like, man, my character's just no good. It's terrible.
That's how I felt at the beginning of this game.
But in all of our playthroughs of this, it works out in the end.
Yes.
Somehow it works out in the end. So even the knock against this game really isn't a true knock because it works out in the end. So stick it out, play this a few times. I feel like this is a solid game.
I would like to see how it would work with all 4 monsters playing a 4-player game.
Yeah, so far it scales well. I was worried that a 2-player game, because usually skirmishes, tend to not be as exciting with fewer characters on the map. But this scales pretty well. The board size is good. There's lots of buildings still to destroy. And that's really fun. What did you think about that? Destroying buildings and the 3D aspect, that the buildings are actually there on the table. What did you think about that?
I like that, except for the fact that Mothra can't destroy buildings.
That's true. You played as somebody who doesn't destroy anything.
Which was what we got wrong in the first round, or the first time we played this.
Right. So yeah, no, it scales very well and it looks interesting on the board. The art is really cool.
But it's not too complicated either.
It's not a complicated game at all. I would say this is probably one of my favorite skirmish type games out there. If you're not familiar with that genre, The Funko Pop Universe, Funko Universe games, those are skirmishes. There's some others out there, but this Godzilla one is solid. It's very solid. Any other thoughts you would share on this game, Sam?
I just think it would be a really easy game to get a non-gamer to play, especially somebody that's into movies or Godzilla. You know, it gives you more areas to pull them into. So I would say it's a good game. I know you're going to ask me this later, but yes, I think it's a good game for a non-gamer.
Well, there you go. I don't think I need to ask you. I think we answered it right there. So let's get to our ratings on this game. Sam, on a scale of 1 to 10, love to hate, what do you give this game?
Surprisingly, I think I'd give it a 9.
Wow, a 9. How come?
It was very simple to learn. I mean, there was definitely times where I had to clarify the rules. It's quick. It did not take very long. I won both times. But it's just... It was unique. Like you said, the fact that you start at the beginning thinking that you're losing, and at the end, it all works out.
Yeah, that hidden scoring aspect is where this game really shines.
And I don't think I've ever played a whole lot of games with the hidden scoring like that.
Yeah, there's not many out there. For me, I think, I'm very into this game. I give it a 7.5, and the only reason why I score it maybe that low is just because skirmish games aren't typically my cup of tea. I don't really enjoy them a whole lot, but for this one, I really do enjoy it, and so a 7.5 for a skirmish game is actually pretty high for me. So there you guys have it. This game is very solid, very good game, and Sam recommends it, playing it with non-gamers. So if you like this game, check out the link in the description of the video. If you like this video, consider liking and subscribing, and don't forget to hit that bell to be updated on our new content. This has been Love to Hate.